In 2025, 10 U.S. states are standing up, suing, and fighting back against Trump's boldest moves yet. From California's courtroom battles to New York's climate war, this isn't politics as usual, this is a rebellion. Stick around. You won't believe what they're doing. Let's get started with number 10. Number 10 is Delaware. Small state, big voice. Though it's the second smallest state in the nation, Delaware has a long history of standing up for its principles and making its presence felt on the national stage. In recent months, it's become the epicenter of a powerful grassroots movement that's captured the attention of the entire country. The No Kings protests swept through Wilmington and Dover, with thousands of passionate citizens rallying against what they saw as dangerous executive overreach. People from all walks of life, students, teachers, business owners, and retirees, came together united by a single message: no one person should have unchecked power, not even at the highest levels of government. These weren't random marches. They were meticulously organized with coordinated signs, powerful chants, and a clear, unwavering message. Delawareans made it clear that they reject unchecked federal power and demand accountability from their leaders. The movement's focus and discipline set it apart from other protests across the country. The turnout was massive for the state's size, with crowds filling the streets and the steps of the state capitol. The sheer number of participants made it impossible for officials to ignore the movement's demands. For a state with a population just under 1 million, the scale of these demonstrations was truly remarkable. This grassroots movement didn't just make noise, it took action. Activists met with representatives, organized community forums, and inspired similar protests in neighboring states. The energy and determination of Delaware's citizens put real pressure on their elected officials to take a stand and defend democratic principles. While Delaware hasn't passed new laws yet, the No Kings movement has set the stage for meaningful change. Activists are already planning future actions, and lawmakers are feeling the heat. The movement has sparked important conversations about the balance of power and the role of citizens in holding leaders accountable. It's proof that even the smallest states can make national waves. Delaware's actions have shown that size doesn't determine impact, passion and unity do. The No Kings uprising is a reminder that every voice matters, no matter where it comes from. That's why Delaware kicks off our list, showing the nation that real change can start anywhere, even in the first state. Number 9 is Indiana, where resistance surprised many. A huge demonstration at the State House in Indianapolis opposed state cooperation with aggressive federal immigration enforcement. Protesters, immigrant families, faith leaders, longtime residents, stood together, invoking Hoosier hospitality as a value under threat. Their message: state law enforcement shouldn't become immigration agents. The protest forced lawmakers to address these concerns and sparked a real debate about state rights and community safety. Even in conservative territory, resistance is strong and growing. Indiana's single day of action made a lasting impact. That's why it's number 9. At number 8, Iowa stands as a powerful example of what true statewide solidarity can achieve. In a state often associated with rolling fields and quiet towns, a remarkable movement took root, uniting people from all walks of life. On a single, unforgettable day, rallies and vigils erupted in over 30 towns across Iowa, not just in the capital, Des Moines, but in small communities and rural crossroads as well. From the banks of the Mississippi to the prairies in the west, Iowans gathered in parks, on courthouse steps, and in town squares, making their voices heard. The message was clear and urgent: defend immigrant rights and stand firmly against harsh deportation policies. Protesters carried signs, chanted slogans, and shared personal stories, highlighting the deep connections between immigrant families and the communities they help sustain. In Iowa, where immigrant labor is the backbone of agriculture and local businesses, the movement brought together farmers, business owners, workers, and families. They stood shoulder to shoulder, not just for policy change, but for the dignity and well-being of their neighbors and co-workers. What made these protests especially powerful was their decentralized nature. Demonstrations weren't limited to big cities. They sprang up in rural hamlets and small towns, proving that opposition to injustice wasn't just an urban concern. It was a movement that spanned the entire state. The sheer scale and unity of these actions forced Iowa's leaders to pay attention. Lawmakers and officials were compelled to reconsider their cooperation with federal crackdowns, as the people's message rang out from every corner of the Hawkeye state. Iowa's ability to bridge rural and urban divides, bringing together people of all ages and backgrounds, stands as a model for grassroots action nationwide. The state's collective spirit showed that real change is possible when communities unite. That's why Iowa, the Hawkeye state, earns its place at number 8, demonstrating the true power of solidarity in action. Number 7 is Massachusetts, where legal action meets public protest. Attorney General Andrea Campbell led a multi-state lawsuit to block the end of birthright citizenship, defending the 14th Amendment. Boston streets filled with demonstrators backing the legal fight and opposing federalization of the National Guard. The synergy between the AG's office and activists created a powerful feedback loop. Massachusetts uses both the courts and the streets to push back. It's a comprehensive, strategic approach. That's why Massachusetts is number 7. Number 6 is Michigan, a swing state with a strong response. Attorney General Dana Nessel joined lawsuits to protect DEI programs and block hardline immigration policies. Thousands protested in Lansing, uniting civil rights groups, students, and labor unions. The message: Michigan's values are fairness, diversity, and inclusion, not Washington's agenda. Legal action and public protest work hand in hand here. Michigan's coordinated resistance stands out. That's why it's number 6. Number 5 is Minnesota, leading a legal barrage under AG Keith Ellison. Minnesota joined lawsuits to protect birthright citizenship, defend transgender healthcare, and stop NIH funding cuts. The state's legal strategy is broad and relentless, covering civil rights, healthcare, and science. Minnesota's name is on nearly every major legal challenge. AG Ellison's office is a nerve center for resistance, maximizing impact through coalitions. Minnesota's multi-issue legal push sets it apart. That's why it's in our top 5. Number 4 is New York, wielding legal and economic power. AG Letitia James leads lawsuits to protect wind energy incentives, defending jobs, and clean energy. New York is also passing tough new consumer protection laws as federal safeguards weaken. The state shields its residents from predatory practices and environmental rollbacks. New York's approach is both high-profile and practical. Big lawsuits and everyday protections. It's a model for combining national leadership with local impact. The Empire State's strategy is smart and effective. That's why it's number 4. Number 3 is Washington, with a major legal win and innovative laws. Washington's legal team secured a preliminary injunction halting the executive order on birthright citizenship. This was the first big legal roadblock to the administration's agenda, inspiring other states. Meanwhile, the legislature is advancing bills to limit employer cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. These laws protect workers and create a buffer against federal raids. Washington's dual strategy, winning in court and passing new protections, sets a national example. It's a blueprint for effective resistance. That's why Washington is in the top 3. Number 2 on our list is Oregon, often called the Beaver State, which has emerged as a key legal partner and a true innovator in privacy protections. Oregon's commitment to justice and civil rights is deeply rooted in its history, and today, it continues to set the bar for progressive legal action and forward-thinking policies. Oregon joined forces with Washington in a landmark lawsuit that successfully blocked the controversial birthright citizenship order. This powerful alliance between neighboring states demonstrated how regional cooperation can have a national impact, protecting the rights of countless individuals and sending a strong message about the importance of unity in the face of federal overreach. Beyond the courtroom, Oregon is at the forefront of advocating for some of the nation's strongest worker privacy laws. The state recognizes that in today's digital age, protecting personal information in the workplace is more important than ever. Lawmakers are working to ensure that employees' rights are respected and that sensitive data is kept secure from misuse. Proposed legislation would go even further, making it illegal for employers to share a worker's immigration status with law enforcement unless there's a valid warrant. This bold move aims to create a safer environment for immigrant communities, ensuring that people can work and live without fear of unnecessary exposure or retaliation. Oregon's focus on data privacy extends beyond the workplace. The state is developing comprehensive protections that act as a modern, effective shield for vulnerable communities, including immigrants, refugees, and those at risk of discrimination. These efforts help foster trust and security, making Oregon a leader in digital rights. By combining legal teamwork, legislative innovation, and active community engagement, Oregon is setting a powerful example for the rest of the country. Its leaders, advocates, and residents are working together to build a fairer, more inclusive society. These efforts are helping to build a safer, more resilient state, one where families, workers, and entire communities can thrive even in uncertain times. That's why Oregon stands out as our runner-up, earning recognition for its leadership, compassion, and unwavering dedication to protecting the rights and privacy of all its residents. Number 1 is California, the epicenter of resistance. Governor Newsom's administration has filed lawsuits on everything from National Guard federalization to environmental rollbacks. California created a $25 million litigation fund just for these legal battles. The legislature is reinforcing sanctuary laws and closing loopholes to protect immigrants. California's regulatory power sets de facto national standards, forcing companies to comply. The state fights on every front: legal, legislative, and economic. California's scale and strategy are unmatched. That's why it's number 1. There you have it. 10 states, 10 powerful stories of resistance. From protests to lawsuits to new laws, these states are shaping the national conversation. Their actions have slowed or stopped controversial policies and inspired millions. This isn't just about saying no, it's about building a different vision for America. The story isn't over. What's happening in your state? Get informed, get engaged, and be part of the change. Thanks for watching. See you next time.